That's 12-inch fish. So what is happening, people? So today is March the 22nd. It's in the afternoon. It's about 2:31. It's taken me about 30 minutes to get up this river, and I am fishing up the Flat River, which is located at the headwaters of Falls Lake in North Carolina. And I have to really take my time on this bass boat coming up here because this place is full of stumps, and this is my first time up the river this year, and I don't quite know where those stumps are from year to year because we've had several floods. So I normally, my first trip, I really take my time and try not to bump any stump too hard coming up. So anyway, we white bass fishing today, and I'm going to go over some concepts of how to spot some places white bass like to stage up on as they traveling up the river. Now the water temperature is about 53 degrees right now, 52, 53 degrees. And so we normally catch those white bass. They're really thinking about spawning once that water gets 56 or higher. And a little bit early right now, we're gonna see. And I've got a special guest that wants to come and fish this river with me. And I'm not gonna tell you who just yet. Hey, you gotta keep up with the channel to see. And so I'm really pre-fishing today. But we'll go over some points that may help you if you come up to this river or go up the Eno River or any river in your home state to white bass fish. And I'll go over some lures that we'll be using. And so, hey, maybe you can take those pointers along and catch more white bass. Hey, guys, let's go catch a fish. Well, this is a white perch, not a white bass. And you notice this looks like this running water coming out right here, and the current's pushing hard enough. It's pushing all the way across the river. Now that makes for an excellent place for fish to set up in the current. White bass love the current, and actually, I'm marking a lot of fish in there, and I had a bump. So right now I'm throwing a inline spinner, 3/16 ounce, number 2 blade, and of course it's silver, looks like a minnow. Creates a lot of vibration. I tell you, I'm gonna let's throw some kind of curly tail up there. That's just Kalin's 16th ounce head. And well, crappie. It's gonna be a multi-species video. So you guys can see this little cut through behind me out here. Now this is the main river this way, and of course this is a cut through. The river kind of splits. That's an island, and anytime you get to where you have a creek or some other body of water coming through meeting, that creates a current there. That's always a good place to catch a white bass, right in there. And now I do know for a fact that there's been 2 boats through here in the last few minutes, and so a lot of times you get boat traffic through here. That's gonna spook the fish, of course, but we're gonna check it anyway. So many times you see behind me, see how this there's a flat here. The river runs around that corner, but out there that water's pretty shallow out on this flat. And many times those white bass, they'll come out of this deeper water and they'll come right up on the lip of that flat. There's been a lot of boat traffic up here, and sometimes they don't really get up on that flat if it's a lot of boat traffic. But what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna start here and I'm gonna just fish close enough that I can fish the lip. And if I determine they're sitting on the lip, then I'll fish out deeper. But if I determine they're shallower, I'll fish out shallower. I hope that makes sense. This is probably a white bass. He's fighting a little bit better. This is our target fish. That is a white bass, a small one, but it is our target fish. Another one. Another, feels like a small one, but he is a target fish. So let me give you an update. So I just came back out of the flat into the Eno. Water temperature still 53, 54 degrees. And talked to a few fishermen. They've caught a few white bass. I caught those small white bass you've seen. And I'm gonna come down and fish some of these flats off the edge of the Eno in some deeper water and see if I can mark some fish in some deeper water. And sometimes you'll see them, they'll be down here in this deeper water, well, on the edge of the flats closer to the deeper water, versus being up the river. Now, it don't take these fish long to move from here 5 or 6 miles up the river. They can do that in, in just a matter of hours. And so sometimes they'll transition back down here and hang out and wait for, a high water event and push up, do what they're gonna do, and then come back. So I'm gonna fish around on this flat behind me, check it, and hey, maybe we'll catch a good one. So let's go catch a fish. So I'm basically sitting in about 10 feet of water. Where I'm throwing at is probably 1.5 feet deep. It comes up fairly quickly. And a lot of times these white bass they'll just come right up here and sit in 1.5 feet or 2 feet of water. And they're looking out over 10 or 12 feet of water, waiting on shad to ambush or something. They'll just sit out here on this flat. Deep waters here, and the bait fish, they get to them, boom, they right in their face. And they don't have to chase them very far. This is a pretty good one right here. Now that fish is probably 14, maybe 15 inches. It's a pretty good white bass. So I changed a little bit. I put on a gold. This water was kind of dingy. I love gold in this color water. And that's the Blue Fox inline spinner, 3/16 ounce. And I have caught a lot of white bass on that spinner, Blue Fox. number 2 blade, 3/16 ounce size. So this is a pretty good one right here too. You know, that's 12-inch fish. So you can see now that fish came out of like 3 feet of water, and they just love to sit up on those ledges and wait for bait fish to come by. And you know, sometimes they'll back all the way up against and just be in a foot of water. I've seen them in 6 inches to a foot of water, but I think they mainly do that. They just up there in that warmer water, just trying to get warm, especially when the water's cold. So I'm gonna switch up and I'm gonna put, I'll show you what I'm I used that shad looking gulp head, and I like that big eye on it, and I just put that Kalen's Pearl chartreuse just because it's this water's kind of dingy, and I caught right many small ones on it. I'm gonna fish that around and see if I catch can catch one of these bigger ones on this using 6-pound test line. And this right now I got my ACC crappie stick, 6.5 foot, and I think I got all the rods that I crappie fish with. I have 6-pound test on. Now what I'm throwing the inline spinner with, I have 8-pound test on it, because a lot of times they have double duty. I use them to throw bass lures with, so 8-pound test line on the bigger rods. Hey guys, I guess you can see we back at the house. I'm gonna end this video here, and you saw us catch those 2 nice white bass as we went down that bank line. We fished down the bank line a ways and turned around and was headed back when the rain moved in on us, and we had to get off the river pretty quick. So I'm assuming if we could have fished back up the bank line, we'd have probably picked up a couple of more nice fish. And water's 53. That's about the warmest I've seen it. Once it hits 56, those fish will be stacked up the river there. And but anyway, you can't get up the Flat River if you're familiar with that river, and you can't get all the way up the Eno. There's a tree across the Eno up there too, and at least I can't get across it with this boat. Maybe with a small John boat you may be able to. But anyway, we caught them on those inline spinners. I like the inline spinner. Not a lot of people fish those. Anything that will mimic a minnow, I caught them on those curly tails. Probably chartreuse would have been probably good. I didn't try a solid white, but that would have been good too. But anyway, hope you've seen something in the video that you enjoyed. Hope you've seen something in the video that you learned. Hey, we appreciate all the support we get for this channel. Don't forget to click the like button. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss an episode of Wildlife Adventures. And as always, you remember, it's a wild life, and I'll see you on the water.